All right, we are live. Good morning, Francois.
Nice. Good morning. I was still, yeah, you know, fixing my camera.
I know it's been a while since we went live, so we're trying to figure out all the how everything worked again because we had such a elaborate setup and
All the buttons.
all the buttons, all the audio feeds that we had to fix. I'm trying to get it up and running here, making sure I don't hear you twice.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. We learn.
We learn. We
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 learn
try to
as we
fix it.
go.
Yeah. But we want to welcome everyone who is watching or will be watching this
Yeah.
this stream, this video, and we're talking about um, Mobility Field Day 5 because it's coming up. It's right
Yeah.
around the corner, and there are a lot of different presenters that are going to be speaking and giving us a lot of good information for in the next few days. Right, that's gonna come up at the end of the week.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that was the main reason why I wanted to do a live today, just to, talk a little bit about Mobility Field Day, introduce the event to you guys before the event starts, and then gives us an opportunity to talk about a couple of other stuff as well. But yeah, it's going to be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. This one is going to be virtual, right? Like any other event this year. So we'll see how that works. But I think it should work pretty much the same, minus maybe the cool stuff for the delegates, right? They won't get to do the cool event that they have around the different presentations. But hopefully the presentation will kind of be the same. Mobility Field Day, it's notorious for having great presentations and new stuff announced during those presentations. So I'm hoping that it's going to be the same this year. I mean, looking at the list of presenters, it's pretty interesting to me, especially VMware, right? We've never seen them at the Mobility Field Day.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
not
so
at the
I guess we
mobility
can
part.
go over the different things, presenters and delegates, obviously. Um, we can start with the delegates, maybe.
Yeah, because they have
Um,
a lot of new delegates for this time around. I mean, it is a virtual event, so they're able to get a lot more people who are not able to travel to Silicon Valley for this event. So I think having others who have not participated in the past to now be able to take part in this, I think that's a great idea.
mm, yeah, for sure. So for the delegates, we have a real Salter. So I think she's gonna be a first timer, which is great. It's great to have, new people, new faces at Mobility Field Day, new ideas, people coming from different backgrounds. Then we have Dave Benham, the great Dave. He's been there a couple of times, I
Yeah,
think,
he's no
but he's a
stranger.
great guy. Yeah, and he has great experience, and he always asks great questions. Then we have Jason Bashara, who used to work with Dave as well. Is that his first time, Jason?
I believe it's his
Eh,
first time. Yeah.
Yeah. So he also has a lot of experience in the Wi-Fi world. So I think he's going to be a great delegate. Then we have Jennifer Minella. She was there the last time,
Hmm.
so she's back.
Yep.
So that's two girls for now, which is pretty good,
Yeah,
right?
she's really good, and I've met her a few times at the Tech Field Days, and also for we were both in the CWMP JTA at the beginning
Yeah.
of this year.
She's also very strong on security, so she brings that aspect to Mobility Field Day, which is pretty good, I think. Last time she was there, she was asking a lot of security-oriented questions, which is nice. It gives like a different view of a different overview, I guess, or point of view.
Right. Yeah, because Wi-Fi security isn't as it's not discussed as often as
Mhm.
everything else in Wi-Fi.
Yeah, for sure. And it's a big concern for customers. Then we have John Deegan. I think John, that's his first time as well. Yeah, he's been active as well in the community. Yeah, excited to see John as well here at Mobility Field Day. Then we have Jonathan Davis. That's definitely not his first time. He's been there. He's been
He's a
a
veteran.
regular. Yeah, he's a veteran now. We have Keith as well, Keith Parsons. So he's been there pretty much every event, I would say. So not surprising to see him. Then we have Loriana, which is going to be her first time. Loriana Louis from Brazil. So she's, I guess maybe that's one of the, delegates that it's easier to have virtual versus bringing over to the US right now. So that's awesome to be able to have her. She's been very active in the community.
Yeah, we're very happy to see her because she's a big supporter of the podcast as well.
Yes. So, well, maybe we can have her after the event so she can tell her about her experience.
Yeah, I think that would be great to have her on to talk about what she thought and overall for, I guess, her first time as a virtual attendee, a virtual delegate, what it's like.
Yeah. It's first time is well, I've only been there once, and it was a great experience. So, then we have Lee Badman, so he's also a veteran, right? But he's great to have at these events because he has a lot of opinions on different things.
Yes.
So he likes to challenge the vendors, which is nice. Then we have Mitch Dickey. It is very nice. I think he's been there before.
He has, yeah.
And at the same time as you, right?
Yeah, we've both been at the same Mobility Field Day.
Okay,
it was a while back. I think it was Mobility Field Day 2 or 1 or 2, one of those.
Awesome. So that's cool. And then we have Nick Shoemaker. I don't know if Nick has been there yet, but
probably
I
at
think it's his
other.
first time.
I think he's been at other mobility, other Tech Field Day events.
Okay. And then the last delegate is Sam Clements, which is also
Sam is
yes, exactly.
a really great one to have at Mobility Field Day. He brings such a large amount of knowledge and experience to Mobility Field Day.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's a great mix between, some regulars and some new people that they're trying to bring in. And then this time we have 3 girls, which is pretty nice. The percentage of girls keeps going up, which is nice in our industry.
Yeah, it's good to see.
And so that's for the delegates. Now about the presenters. So we have Solona. Solona was there last year as their, I think they used Mobility Field Day last year as their launch event. So they back this year. Then we have, the regulars, Cisco, Fortinet, Mist, NetLife also used Mobility Field Day last year to announce their new company.
Yeah, the new name.
Last year was the secret. Yeah, it was a secret company last year. So they're back this year. Then they have Ventev, which is very nice to see. And they have VMware, which is very interesting to see.
Yeah, so let's talk about what we think we're going to see at or from these presenters. I think Solona, maybe we can predict what we're going to see from Solona, right? They're going to push things like CBRS for the enterprise. Now, I'm not aware of anything new that has came out, but it is good to hear about some of these different frequencies that can be used in the enterprise or in warehouses, for example, if you've got some critical service like voice that needs to be very reliable, or you don't want to deal with the unlicensed frequency because of maybe potential interferences there. So I think Solona is really good and positioned well for that. And it'll be interesting to see what they will talk about at Mobility Field Day.
Yeah, it would be nice if they can show us some sort of product, maybe like a dashboard, or because last year was just like, we're creating this company, we want to attack the CBRS market, the 5G, enterprise 5G, I think that's how they call it. But they didn't really have any, kind of product to showcase. Maybe this year would be nice if we can actually see maybe a demo, or maybe if we can see a dashboard of their configuring a network, or or I think that would be great.
Do you think it'll be similar to WLPC where they did do a deep dive and they showed people how to configure CBRS? I think is what they did, a little boot camp or deep dive on how to do that.
Yeah, I mean, that would be nice. If they have something else to showcase, even better. I mean, this is a startup, so that they're working on at the very fast pace.
Yeah.
So they might have something to announce, right?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, it'd be interesting to see, because I remember somebody had a discussion in the CTS Slack about how they would do Wi-Fi in this very complicated, challenging environment. I think there was a lot of reflective material, and it looked difficult to determine where to mount access points. And somebody brought up the point of, hey, have you looked at using 5G, for example, or some cellular frequencies in order to address some of those concerns about using VoIP in that environment? And I think this is where you have that discussion, and as being someone as a wireless professional, understanding what the options are besides just using 2.4 and 5 gigahertz, like what are our options in order to have this efficiency and have this reliability with our network, our wireless network.
Yeah, it's funny you said that. It reminds me of the episode we recorded last week when we talked about industrial Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So that's a teaser for you guys, because it's not out yet. It's going to be out next week. But yeah, you'll see next week episode we'll be talking about industrial Wi-Fi. We did talk about that. Use the right wireless technology for the job, and Wi-Fi might not always be the right one.
And another teaser is we will have Solona on in a future episode.
Yes, we're actually recording two more, right?
Yeah, it's still going on.
Two more, so
we'll see.
Yeah, so a lot of things going on behind the scene, I guess. So Solona is pretty exciting to see them. And if they do the recording from their office, you see they have a beautiful blue back wall, which is part of the signature now, I think.
It is, yeah. They've got a nice blue color. It's a nice tone. It's very pleasing.
Yeah. And for the story behind the name comes from Barcelona, so they took the last section of Solona. It's kind of like Cisco that comes from San Francisco.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, see that?
Yeah, you see that? All right. Talking about Cisco, look at the segue.
Yeah, nice segue. Good planning.
I didn't even do it on purpose, but Cisco, they're gonna be there. I guess they're just regulars. We don't really know what they talk about. Last time they talked about open roaming and IoT. So I'm not too sure what they'll talk about this time around. Any idea?
I think it'll be around open roaming. That's my guess, because I'm not sure what they would talk about. Maybe the
smart connectors.
Points. I don't know.
the new antennas with the smart connectors, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard for me to tell what Cisco will talk about. They just, to me, I feel like they just join in every single mobility field day, and it's just more of a, hey, here's what we continually have going on. Here's a review of what we've done. I haven't seen anything come out new unless they plan to announce something on this mobility field day.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Usually they don't announce anything new, right? They keep it for Cisco Live. Yeah. But you never know.
And we did do an episode on open roaming. So Cisco is no longer like the owner of open roaming. So they'd have a big participation in that and getting that up and running. So maybe we will see an update into how open roaming has progressed, who is participating in open roaming. And what I really want to know is, how are we going to do cellular Wi-Fi handoffs, back and forth between the two? I think that is something worth discussing, and whether these cellular providers are going to jump on board with something like that.
Yeah. And talking about the episode on open roaming came out today.
Yeah, that's right. So if you go to cleartosend.net, you can download that episode, listen to it after this live stream.
Share with your friend. All right. So Cisco after Cisco Fortinet. So Fortinet, they also regulars. Last year they talked about the overall solution they have for the edge, which would include Wi-Fi and I think it was pretty nice solutions. And they also talked about some of the R&D work they were doing and presenting the funny robots we talked about last year. So not too sure what to expect from Fortinet. I haven't been following what they were doing lately.
Yeah, me either. But they do offer an all-encompassing solution, right? They don't just do wireless, but they're very big on security. So I think this is where Jennifer's really going to start asking a lot of questions, because she'll tie in both her wireless and security knowledge and really drill down into what Fortinet is capable of doing, what's new. I know they have their 11AX APs, so maybe there is an update to that. But I don't know. Actually, I don't know what to expect from Fortinet.
We'll see. And then we have Mist. Kind of know what to expect from Mist. Yeah, I think they'll talk about their new integration with the switches to the dashboard. I think it's going to be the main focus. What do you think?
I think they're going to come out with an announcent, because I saw something get posted on a certain website. So maybe.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about. Okay. What should we do? Should we put a link in the description?
No, people will see it. They'll see it.
People will see it. Okay. All right. Yeah. So maybe they might.
I'll just say it's not software.
It's not software. Are you talking about a new badge? A new BLE badge for the employees?
I bet you they will talk about contact tracing a bit, because that's a big topic of how are we going to bring employees back to the office. And, everyone's saying they want to go back to the office, but I do not want to go back to the office. I really like working from home. It's much better for me, but I understand that people probably have a better environment in the office, right, rather than working from home. And so to do this safely, what Mist presented, and we've had him on the podcast, I think two episodes ago, talking about contact tracing and what happens if somebody has been determined to have COVID. How do you know where they've been in the office, who have been in contact? Because I know in some environments the contact tracing is very it's like rudimentary. It's like you have a register system, right? You have to register to go to a location, and then you have to take your temperature, and then you have to tell people which, like for example, in my environment, which buildings am I going to be in that day, right? So that's like one way to do contact tracing, but it doesn't tell you exactly where in a building you've been, right? And who else may have been there. But I know people will be using things like badge access. But again, it just tells you who's been in the building. You could have somebody who maybe was on the 5th floor and somebody who is only on the 1st floor, but they may not have been in contact with each other. So Mist kind of takes that a step further and is able to track location on something like a BLE badge, and you can see exactly where they've been, who they may have been in contact with, and then be able to do contact tracing much easier that way, faster, just through the dashboard and the systems they have in place.
More accurately as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess we'll see. Hopefully we get great presenters. We usually do from Mist, technical guys, which is awesome. Okay, so Mist, that's for Mist. Mist, they're actually going to be the first presenter. We'll talk about the schedule right after that. Then we're gonna have NetLife. So NetLife, I think they're going to talk about the air mappers, the ability to do a survey from their device. So they have the Etherscope, right? Which you tested last week.
I've been testing it out. So NetAlly actually provided me with one to test out and get a feel for it. And if I were to compare this to the AirCheck, which I happen to get a hold of from work, this is the AirCheck right here. This is the Etherscope. Like the size is pretty hefty on the Etherscope, but
Yeah.
it's been nice to just walk around with one device to do all your Wi-Fi metric gathering, right? And being able to import the map and have it automatically uploaded to something like Link Live. So I think they're going to talk about those enhancements. They'll probably come out with something new, and then the update to having AirMapper on the AirCheck, because I think that's still in a beta, a beta form. And so I believe earlier this year, I think in March or April, they did have the presentation when they talked about AirMapper. I believe they said they were going to release AirMapper for AirCheck this summer. And so this could be the event where they talk more about that.
Yeah, I think so too. And then they might also talk about Link Live and the integration with the Link Live. And also, I think they're going to talk about the licensing model, because it can punch the competition.
Yeah, I mean, the licensing model is a lot more simpler than than everyone else's. And Link Live itself just comes with everything. I think you can sign up right now for Link Live if you wanted to.
Yeah.
You just don't have, the hardware to attach to, like, if you have a Link Sprinter though, you could do that, or a test accessory. But having to integrate things through Link Live kind of shows you the capabilities of what could come in the future, right? You've got the collaboration effort. Like, Francois, I was able to add you into the organization. You could see all the surveys that I've been doing, and then you could see the actual AirMapper survey, do some very basic checks, right? Your heat map, noise, that kind of thing. So it's pretty simple to use.
Yeah, and I'm actually a big fan of Link Live. I've started using it with a Link Sprinter, like you said, right? I got it, I think, at WLPC back a few years back, and I love the fact that it just documents everything for you. You do a test, everything is in the cloud, everything is documented, and you know what? At that time, I think I sent them a feedback asking them to actually be able to charge the Link printer from the PoE port.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't have to use battery. And I think they integrated that.
Yeah, that's part of it. That's in there. It will not use the battery if it's plugged into a PoE port.
So, okay. So we're not there yet, but at least that's pretty cool. Even if the battery ran out, you can still do your work.
Right. Yeah, and it's nice to like plug that in during your survey and be able to test to that, right? Versus having to set up other devices. The Net Ally devices simply talk to each other. If it sees it on the network, it's going to be able to do like throughput tests to it. I don't do too many throughput tests when I'm doing a survey, but it's a good check to see. You come on site, you can do these auto tests on Net Ally, and then be able to do throughput tests as well, just to confirm, hey, this is what's working. This is what I'm expecting to see. And one of my favorite features, because I used this the other day, was looking at even spectrum. And it's not like a spectrum analyzer that you would expect to see, where you see all the frequencies and the noise, but it does tell you which channels and that are seeing 802.11 traffic and non-802.11 traffic. Being able to see that and the distribution between the two, you can quickly tell, all right, there's something going on this channel 64, for example, so maybe I should avoid that channel, or try to identify what that non-Wi-Fi interference is. Because if you get the kit, the Etherscope kit, or even the AirCheck G2 kit, you will get that directional antenna to be able to try to figure out where that noise is.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess we'll see what's new with NetLife, but and also because the Etherscope is running Android, they might have applications maybe to show us. So I guess we'll see.
There's a lot of applications. And I think in a future video, we'll talk more about the Etherscope, since I have it. And there are some really cool features. So for example, if I were to give this device to somebody who may not be so technical and they don't know what to press, if it is connected to Wi-Fi, you could remote into it and just press on things for them. They just have to hold it in the area that you're in. So you could do that via Link Live. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and we have to say it's illegal to hire kids right? You could ask your
Kids.
you could ask your son to do that, right?
Kids. No, yeah, we're not saying kids. Kit. KIT.
All right. Next is Ventev. It's nice to see Ventev.
What do you think it's going to
So
be?
obviously they're going to talk about antennas.
Oh, antennas.
Hopefully.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think what's been a common something we've seen in the antenna world lately is try to find different antenna designs so we can actually have the antenna blend in the environment or hide the antenna, if you will, but still providing a good signal. And I know Ventev created multiple antennas in that regard, so maybe they'll talk about antenna design and how they're able to, hide the antenna in our environments. That would be nice. Maybe they have something else to talk about.
Yeah, they've been really creative with the antennas that they create. I mean, I have one sitting here because I was using it for, I was testing out something with one of my APs because I wanted to make sure that the SSID was being broadcasted because I was doing an AP on a stick and with an external AP model. So let me pull this antenna.
Yeah. And is it like, oh, okay, that's a nice one. That's the
This
junction
is the
box
junction
one?
box, yeah. And so I've used these successfully. No one really notices these. They just think, hey, it's, you look at the wall and you think that it's just one of those plates, but it'll take me a while to unscrew this. But if you unscrew this, there is an antenna in here in which you could actually direct the signal with this. So this thing here will angle will do the directionality of the antenna. So if I move it, it would either project it like straight on, or if you mount it higher, you can direct it so that it directs it downwards.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. That's, nice solutions. And like you said, no one will notice.
Yeah. And even Chris Reed on the chat said stealthing has been a huge component for a lot of his projects and expects good things for texture and enclosures from Ventev. Actually, that's a good one. Texture, being able to blend that into the environment, I think is that's the advantage that Ventev has.
And I think Dennis, that's his name, right? Dennis from Ventev. He recently was on a webinar for Ekahau, and he talked about a project where they managed to hide an antenna within concrete, which I thought was crazy. But he said it worked
in concrete. Okay,
that's what I understood from it. So,
but without having the signal attenuated from the concrete.
I don't know.
I'll have to watch that. I don't know
how they managed to do it, but yeah.
Dennis is an incredibly smart guy when it comes to antennas.
Yeah, I know. He probably figured it out. But that's to me, that's amazing. Like now you could think about a whole bunch of, I don't know exactly in which environment it was, but you can think about a whole bunch of new cases if you can start to do this.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ventev, very excited about Ventev. They're going to be the last presenters. So, and then VMware.
So I thought about this. I think VMware is going to present for Niansa since they acquired them. That's the only thing I could think about is Niansa is the only wireless related component unless VMware came out with something completely new.
Yeah, that would make sense to me because they are regulars as well, right?
Yeah, I remember, I was in the first, I think that was Mobility Field Day 1 when they first presented.
Okay, so I guess that would make sense. We'll see what happens. I don't know if I haven't heard about Niansa in a while, so I don't know if they have new stuff.
I do know they also have been working on contact tracing using their product tied with like some logging systems like Splunk. So we'll see what's new. I'm sure they've also been working on new things, tying their product into some of the controller-based products from like Cisco and Aruba. So that'll be interesting to see how we can integrate their components, right? We're not hearing from an actual wireless vendor like Cisco or Fortinet or Mist, right? This is a company that that works with another wireless vendor. So I like to see a lot of those more often, like the Net Allies and the ANSAs, versus hearing them from Cisco. Because I know, I have like this love-hate relationship with Cisco. Like they have good products, but then some of their other products are not very good because they try to encompass everything, right? And so we have these other companies who will come in to fill that gap, but be very good at it, right? They're very niched into that specific area. And I think we need those types of companies, because your big companies like Cisco are not going to be able to do everything very well.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's nice to see those. I guess it's I don't know how you could call them, but it's like tools and analytics tools.
Yeah, I'd call them like third-party integrations.
Third party. Yeah. Even the antenna, Ventev, it's awesome.
Yeah, and that's because they have way more options, more flexible options than the antennas you would buy directly from the vendor. Right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with like Meraki. I prefer to use Ventev antennas with Meraki than Meraki's own antennas.
Yeah. What? Okay, what? You don't buy Meraki antennas?
Well, let me tell you my challenge with Meraki antennas. I'm using MR74s. These are the outdoor rated APs. They've got 4 connectors, but their patch antennas only have 2 leads out of them, right? So which means you could only plug it into the 2.4 connector or the 5 gigahertz connector. And if you want to have a dual band, that means you have to buy 2 antennas for a single AP. So why Meraki doesn't have a dual band patch antenna for something like the MR74, I don't know. Maybe I'm missing it. I'm pretty sure I have not seen it. So that's why I prefer to use Ventev, because the Ventev guys actually know how to make antennas, and they have a product that would fit that access point.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was just joking with you. All right, so talking about the schedule. So starting this Wednesday, all of the times I'm going to give you are PST, so on the West Coast. So Mist will be the first one presenting on Wednesday at 8 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Then Solona will be the second one, beginning of the afternoon, starting at 1 p.m. until 2:30 p.m. On Thursday, we're going to have 3 companies presenting, 2 in the morning, NetLife and Fortinet. NetLife starting at 8 a.m. And Fortinet taking over at 10:30. And then VMware will be the afternoon, 1:30 to 2:30. And then Friday, we have Cisco and Ventev in the morning, Cisco at 8 a.m. and Ventev at 11 a.m. PST.
Thursday is a full day.
Yeah, and we should mention that all of these will be recorded and put on YouTube as well. If you miss them, if you go on the YouTube channel of Tech Field Day, we'll try to put a link in the show notes. But yeah, you'll be able to view the videos. It usually takes a day or 2, right, for them to be uploaded, but they're usually pretty fast.
Yeah, and it's best to watch it live if you can, because if you have questions, you can easily send that to any of the delegates, and they do ask the presenters your questions. So I think that's the really cool part of Tech Field Day and the live events, is being able to talk to somebody who's very close to the products, right? Someone who knows the answers. And so this is your chance to ask those questions if you do have them.
Yes, and you can also use that channel to challenge a little bit the vendors. So if you have not a tricky question, but like a question where you want to know a little bit more in details how it works technically, you can ask them. They usually have the engineers there to answer those type of questions, which is nice for us.
Yeah. So we'll see if they start to squirm, then yeah, you can see that.
Yeah, exactly. Are we good for Mobility Field Day?
I think so. I mean, if you guys have any questions, let us know in the comments. I mean, we are looking forward to this event, especially with the new delegates that are there. And I think it's a nice round of presenters. I think we'll get some good information out of it.
Yeah, I agree too. It's those events are always good. So I'll try to watch them live for sure as much as I can. All right, so moving on, a couple of other stuff. I wanted to talk about PiSerial a little bit, which is a library, a Python library that allows you to establish a console connection with your network equipment. So you might ask yourself, why would you want to do this? That's what I asked myself when I saw that. And then I started to think about different things, and I actually used it to configure an access point for the very first time. And I had this Cisco access point that I actually received from the Wi-Fi awards. It's a 9120. Nice. Yeah, that was nice. 9120, and when it came with the the embedded wireless controller on it, which was even nicer. And if you guys don't know what the EWC is, it's pretty much the next version of the Mobility Express type of controller. So you have a controller code on the AP itself. And so what I wanted to do is try to configure the AP for, let's say, an AP on a stick survey. And I was like, oh, maybe I can write a script and then use that PiSerial library to kind of do the configuration via a console connection. Because the first time you configure the AP, you have to go through console, right? You have to configure the network interfaces and all that, and you have to do it via a console connection. So I started to look into it, and it wasn't that straightforward. And even looking online at different things, it wasn't that straightforward. So that's why I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about it, and that's why I wrote a blog and a couple of examples for people to see on my GitHub if they want to do that with the Cisco equipment. So what do you want me to share my screen, Roel, or how do you want to do this?
Yeah, if you want to share your screen, I'll try to put that up on the live stream, and then we could see what you've created.
Nothing really crazy, but okay, let me see if I can share my desktop. Yes, I can share my desktop.
All right, and then let me make sure I can see it.
Let me see if I think I'm sharing it right now.
Yes. There you go.
Okay, so first thing I do is I make sure that I have my console connection ready, and I'm using Air Console, so I'm gonna see if I can connect to it. Here we go. And the way it works on macOS is a little bit different than the way it works on Windows. On macOS, you have to use the TTY link to connect to your serial connection. On Windows, you have to use the COM links. So you kind of have to go and retrieve exactly which COM you need to use or which TTY you need to use on macOS. Once you have that information, you can feed that information back to your Python script, and it should work. On macOS, to find out, you can do a list ls of /dev tty dot, and then you can see what you have available to you, and you can see I have my Air Console. So this is the TTY I need to use in my script to establish the connection. Yeah, so here I have a really simple script. It's called show AP summary.py. So all it does is establish the console connection with the equipment, send the show AP summary, and display the output of it. Okay. So if I go to the code, can you see this?
Yep.
Okay. So here, what I've done is it's pretty much I have one function, and then I have a little piece of code here. And so the first thing I do is just print like a statement stating that I'm connecting to my serial connection. And as you can see, I'm using that serial library, and then they have an object serial in there that you can create.
Yeah, I see that. Okay.
Yeah, and as a parameter, you have to put that TTY string, right? So for me, that would be this. If you're in Windows, it would be your COM, whatever number is. You can also set up a timeout after that. And then you're going to have your serial connection that you can actually use. And then after that, what I've done is I created a command to I created a function to actually create my command to send, because you actually have to do these 4 lines every time you want to send a command. So it's not very something like super pretty, but you're working over a console connection, so you have to remember that.
Yeah, you've made it a little bit more structured, so it's easier to issue those commands rather than retyping those 4 statements.
Yeah, exactly. So here, if I just want to send, for instance, enable, if I want to write enable, press enter and send that to my AP, I have to that enable command, the command I'm passing the string here. So this would be enable. You have to add this /r, and this will simulate a return.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, you have to hit enter. It has to know that you hit enter, right?
Exactly. And I tried with \n, which is a new line character, but it didn't work for me. And I don't know. Online you'll see \n, but for me it didn't work. So R worked. And I can't remember where I found it online, but I found it online somewhere. And then after that, you can use the write function from your serial connection, right? So this is part of the serial library. And then you have to encode the code that you're sending, the string here that I'm sending, the enable and \r, you have to encode with UTF-8. And then you send all of that. Then you have to wait. And the reason why you have to wait is you have to wait for the code to be sent to your AP via serial connection, the code to be, or the command to be executed, and then the AP to send you the output back, right? And that wait time, I found it works okay if you put half a second, but if you put a command that it's going to take longer, you can adjust that wait time. That's why I put it as an argument to my command. Like, as you can see here, show AP summary, I'm giving a different wait time of 2 seconds. Just to make sure that the AP has time to display all of these APs and send it back to me.
And how did you know you had to put a wait time?
Because you test it. You test it and then you don't get anything. Like, hey, why don't I get anything? So it's actually, Python is actually executing too fast. So that's why you don't get anything. So you have to wait to get the output back.
Otherwise, it's going to start putting in your other commands.
Yeah, it's going to start putting in your other commands, but you don't give your script enough time to receive the data.
Okay.
Yeah. And then after that, this line was pretty much print the output of what you receive back. And the way it works is you're going to use this in waiting function, which will show you all of the bytes that you have received that you haven't dealt with yet. So it's like kind of like a buffer. And then what you can do is you can just read this buffer and decode it properly, right? And that's all I'm doing. So, but you have to do this every command you send. So that's why I created a function. And so the first command I'm sending is nothing. So just to simulate a return line. So enter, and then I send the enable, and then I send a show AP summary. That's it.
Okay.
Sounds
pretty
straightforward.
Simple. Yeah.
So now if I execute this, let's see what happens. Hopefully it works. I haven't tested this morning, so.
Doing it live.
Yeah, I think it will work.
Something's showing.
Yeah, and I don't have any APs.
You have no APs.
Yeah. So yeah, I have one AP.
It ran the command. There it goes.
So you see here, that's an example. So I have one AP, but I don't see it because I probably didn't leave enough time for it to receive the results, right? But here, what you can see that I was actually able to connect to my TTY. This is the text you see when you connect to your AP, and then he was able to go into enable and then do the show AP summary. So if we do it again,
but are you gonna change the time on it, the wait time?
I think it will work now because we don't have to go through the banner again.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. There you go.
Yeah, and I was already in enable actually. So, so this is the good example of what you're gonna have to do if you use this library. It's gonna be a lot of trial and errors to try to find out what you need, and also try to find out the sequence of command you need.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, so this is, I get the result of I only have one AP here, so I only have one AP, but I tested it with a couple of APs and it worked as well.
Yeah, I think it's a really neat script. If, like, for example, if I come into an environment and I need to do some sort of audit for something or collect the configuration of an AP or controller, you could essentially just run a bunch of scripts and just collect that for you rather than you logging in to each one, running the commands on each one. And I would even go, you can even take this further, Francois, if you learn the front end GUI portion is like, do check boxes for the commands you want to run and then say execute, and then it would go run those. And I know you tried looking into, I know you've tried looking into the GUI stuff a while back, and it was pretty complicated to do, but doing this amount of stuff is pretty good.
Yeah. Well, so this is useful if you need a console connection, right? If you already have the IP of the equipment, it's better to use SSH, or it's better to use, whatever the netconf or whatever they have, RASconf available for these devices. But if you need serial connection, that's nice. And I guess I can show you the other one, which is the, let me see if I can. The other one is the script that actually I use to configure the AP for AP on a stick.
Yeah.
And then so here, actually, no, that's not the one. This one. So this is the config I'm using, right? If you're just looking at the text file of a configuration. And so I'm sending all of these commands through the script, right? Yeah. So I have the script here, and you're gonna see it's gonna be a little bit more complex, but I have the same function here that's gonna send the line to the command. And then after that, I have the function that will send all of the commands. And so you can see I'm sending the different commands, and I'm retrieving, I'm formatting different things, retrieving information from the configuration file that you have on the right.
Yeah.
So that's where I'll configure how I want to configure my AP, my password, my IP, or whatever. And then it will retrieve all that information, format it correctly, and then send the different commands to, and you can see sometimes the wait time changes. This one is up to 3 seconds because when you change the IP address, it takes a little while. So I've tested all of these. It works pretty good. You just need to make sure that you have actually a clean configuration on the AP. So you have to reset it to the default. But you have to make sure that you're running EWC. So if you're planning on doing an AP on a stick, what you can do is convert your AP to EWC. There are a couple of articles online on how to do this, and then you can run this script and it will configure it for your AP on a stick, pretty much.
Yeah, and so we can share some link down in the description. I'm showing your GitHub page, which has the AP on a stick for EWC. So if you want to try to do this yourself using Python, you can certainly do that and be able to start configuring EWC much faster for AP on a stick.
Yeah, exactly. And I also put the example I was showing you, the show AP summary. I put it also on the GitHub if people just want to, quickly give it a test. And also on my blog, I explain how that works. I did an article to explain how that works, just because it wasn't straightforward for me to find the info.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty good stuff. I mean, it's been really interesting to see how you've came from learning Python to where you are now, especially with the things that you've been trying to do, because you're really coming up with scripts to solve the issues that you run into and all the different projects you're running into in order to do this much more efficiently on your end.
Yeah, it's nice, and I actually have a lot of fun doing this. So it's it's nice for me as well. And after that, I started to work on a script to actually leverage netconf to modify, for, let's say you're doing an AP on a stick and you want to modify the channel or you want to modify the transmit power you're using. So I wanted to create a script over netconf. So I'm still working on it. I was able to retrieve the information, but I didn't work on the reconfiguration section yet. So maybe one day I'll finish it.
Yeah, I think you're making good progress. So I have no doubts that you'll end up finishing it.
Yeah, and it's not straightforward either. So I'll probably document it as well. And Hayden from Australia, he released a series of articles on NetConf, which
Yeah.
are really good for us because if you search for information right now, you find a lot of information around switches and routers, but you don't find a lot of information regarding
The
controllers,
wireless,
right?
yeah. There's not many, not much documentation on getting information off of wireless controllers, and
Yeah.
there's a lot there that we need to figure out. And I think we can definitely get so much more out of it if it was. I think the Cisco documentation is just not as clear, but they do tell you how to get started on it, right? And so if you take the examples that you see in like route and switch, you should be able to try to replicate some of those same tools and methods to grab wireless information.
Yeah, it's just the information is there online. It's just that it's scattered at different locations, so you kind of have to know where to search. But once you know, you can figure it out. So yeah, so maybe one day when we have a little bit more times, we can do another session on NetConf and share those information because it's gonna. I've spent hours looking for those stuff, and I've had a lot of help from people online, which I really appreciated. So if we can consolidate that information somewhere, I think that would be beneficial for anyone that starts to look into it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, that was it for my own promotion.
No, that was good information. I always like seeing the different projects and code that comes out of it, but I haven't been able to test any of my scripting at all, but I always look forward to seeing what you've done.
I wanted to thank Jeremy Sharp because he helped me to test it on Windows. So thank you, Jeremy. Thank you.
Yeah.
He also has a really good article that helps you to convert your AP to a CapWeb AP to EW from a CapWeb to EWC. So
okay. I'll have to test that out because I have the 9120 sitting back here doing nothing.
Okay, so you could, using Jeremy's website, you could convert it into EWC, and then using my script, you could configure it.
Yeah.
And I think Sam Clements also have instructions on how to convert CapWeb APs. So we'll probably put these links into the show notes for this episode if you guys want to take a look. And I also put it in my blog. So if you go to my blog, you'll find those links.
All right, cool. So we're coming up near the end of this stream. The one thing that we do want to mention to everyone is the course that we have out there, which is, let me see if I can share my screen. If you go to courses.cleartosend.net, we have one course right now. We are working on the next one, which is CWNA, but this one is on a practical guide to Wi-Fi site surveys. And if you go here, you will be able to get some information on how to do some Wi-Fi site surveys. So we have a set of curriculum that you could start looking into what is included in this course. And we've already had a few people go through it, and we've got some pretty good comments on how it was for them and how it's helped them. We've got some good testimonials, and then we were able to get some people to review it and also check some if we have any errors or anything, because I know when you're working on your own course, you tend to have errors. But if you go to courses.cleartosend.net, you can see what we've built there. If you're looking forward to getting back into doing Wi-Fi site surveys, or maybe you want to learn how to do it more efficiently, Francois and I were able to put that course together.
And something we try to do differently with this course, online course, I guess, is try to maintain some sort of interaction with the students. So we have a private Slack channel on the Slack group that we use for the course, and anyone who purchased the course get added to that channel and get to ask us questions directly or get to exchange some of the experience and stuff. And sometimes we also do share some exclusive content on that channel. Like the other time, you did some survey for work, and you shared some nice video. It looked like a YouTuber doing a video. It was so cool. You shared that on that channel to share that with the students. So we do maintain the interaction on that channel as well. And then I think what we'll do is if we end up coming up with new stuff, new tools, because we have like a bonuses that we give out to the students. So if we come up with new stuff, we'll probably share that in that channel, so people who purchase the course can have access to that as well.
Yeah, so we'll continue to update the course as well. So anything that we anything substantial that we think would be very beneficial for the course, we'll add to it. So one of the things that we could possibly add here is doing site surveys with the air check, for example. That could be a real world example that we use in the course, how it works for us, how we use it, because not everyone's going to be using like Ekahau, or not everyone's going to be using some other software, right? So we'll try to include other solutions to try to round it out so that it's not just specific to one particular set of software. But yes, we do continue to add content that we only put in this Slack channel for this course that we don't put anywhere else, because we want to try to provide more value for those who want to learn more for this course. And we'll continue to do the same for future courses. Right now, we're working on the CWNA course, which will be the update to the CWNA. If that comes out this year, we'll see. It's supposed to come out before the conference, the WTF conference, Wireless Technology Forum. And that course, I think we will do something a little bit different, where we'll incorporate some virtual office hours where we do it over Zoom, kind of talk about the study material, questions people might have where they might need a little bit more interactions with others, because we want to try to give you a way to study on your own time wherever you are, but then be able to still interact with us and also other students that are in the course as well.
Yeah, exactly. And we could do like whiteboard sessions during those virtual office hours as well. And so if you in formation, Roald, you came up with a nice form, so we can actually tailor the course to your needs. So if you're interested, you can go to cwnatraining.com and fill out the form, and you'll receive a link to that little survey you created so we can actually know exactly what you guys want. And also, I wanted to mention that we are really grateful for anyone who purchased the course. It helped us to support, what we do on the podcast and the time we put into it. So thank you very much.
Yeah, we put a lot of time into the podcast trying to educate others, because it also is a way for us to learn more about Wi-Fi and do deep dives into it. And so the way we try to pay for the expenses of the podcast is through the courses. And if you want to support us through courses, you can get one of our courses. We will be doing more, as you said, Francois. Like, here's the CWNA course, the interest list if you're interested. And I also do share some like behind the scenes and creating the course. And other ways to support the podcast is through Ko-fi. It's ko.fi.com/clear-to-send. And if you just want to give us, a cup of coffee, you can. And just go to this URL up here, coffee.com, and then support, and you can buy us a coffee for like $3.
That'd be awesome. And
because I definitely need a refill right now.
Yeah, exactly. And I heard your phone work is calling, or your wife is calling.
Yeah, I thought I put it on silence. It's actually Discord. So some people were messaging me on Discord.
I think we can wrap up. Last thing I wanted to mention is we've had a really good month on the podcast this month, if we look at the number of downloads. So thank you for everyone who shared their podcast with other people. Thank you for the continuous support. And we're working to bring you more great content, great episodes. So today we released an episode on open rooming. Next week we'll talk about industrial Wi-Fi. We have a recording with Solona tomorrow for an upcoming episode. And then we have other stuff coming up. So hopefully you guys keep liking the content and keep following us. But yeah, thank you for the support. It's been really great.
Yeah, thank you so much for everyone who has listened to the show, who has helped share episodes. We really appreciate it because it helps us keep going with these episodes, right? So if there is something that you want to hear about, just let us know and we'll look into it, try to talk about it, try to answer questions and look at it differently to give like a more neutral opinion on what the technology looks like. Because we try to give you some real world spin into it. And since Francois and I are going out into the field and touching different environments, we're able to talk about some of these on the podcast and see how it actually works versus just talking about theory, right? Because theory sounds good and all, but if no one's using some of these technologies, some of these features, then what does that mean for everyone?
Yeah. Hopefully we get to, I'm thinking about open roaming. Hopefully we get to test it.
Yeah, that's what I would like to do. If you do listen to the episode, we do mention how do we get to test open roaming, and it doesn't seem like it's that easy yet. Although I think they are working on getting there. But if you go to cleardescend.net/230, you should be able to see that episode and learn more about what are the components of open roaming. What is it trying to address? You know, what kind of problem is it trying to address? And how does it compare to some of the other solutions you may have heard, right? Because how does it compare to like, what is it? Like EduRoam, Hotspot.
Oh yeah, Passpoint.
Passpoint. Like, what does that mean?
And also, we should mention that on this episode, we had Thiago Rodriguez, the CEO of the Wireless Broadband Alliance, and Mac Myferson. He's a wireless CTO at Cisco. Yeah. So we had people involved into the open roaming very much with us.
All right. So what are you working on this week, Francois?
What am I working on this week? It's good question. I think I'm going to work on a couple of things for my blog. Last week I was actually teaching an ECAC advanced course, and while the students were doing the exam, I wrote a little script. The idea came from Hayden, so all the credit should go to him. But I wrote a little script that I wanted to share on my blog. That helps you to leverage the new tags. You know, the new tags you have in Ekao. Yeah. So it pretty much auto-populate the tags based on AP feature. So the script pretty much check the antenna type, the antenna name, and the antenna vendor, and auto-populates 3 tags that I created. Okay. So you don't have to manually create the tags.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Yeah.
So I'll do a little example to showcase it because it's not that easy to understand if you've never seen tags and what it is. But if you have 50 APs, 100 APs, and you don't want to create the tags manually, that can save you a lot of time. Okay. So apart from that, I might be working on a new mini course, creating a new mini course for Wi-Fi training. So I have that in the works.
Can you share it or not yet?
Well, I'm not, I didn't start working on it really yet. So I'm going to start. I created the outline, but I want to actually do it before I can talk about it. Gotcha. Because that might evolve, you know how things goes. So I'm going to start working on that this week. Then we received this Cubican sensor. Oh, that's right. I want to try it out. Yeah. Also, I wanted to check the air check because they sent me a beta thing to test. So I wanted to test that out as well and send my feedback to them. So I want to do this, and then I might have a couple of things to do for my customers as well, you know, to pay the bills.
Yeah, you got to earn some money to put food on the table, pay for that house that you got.
Exactly. I tell my daughters to buy the diapers. That's what I tell them. Where do you work? Well, I have to buy the diapers, right?
Yeah, I say the same to my kids. I'm like, you want to play with those toys you got, right?
Anyway.
That's a full week for you.
Yeah. which is, I can't complain. I get to work on cool stuff.
Yeah, that's true. That is a lot of cool stuff. I think I'm gonna do another AP on a Stick survey this week because I need to get outdoor Wi-Fi to a specific location, but the mounting locations are not ideal. So I plan on shooting signal from inside a building through a window using a directional antenna.
Okay.
And this is in response to outdoor learning, where students will be learning outside versus in the classroom because of COVID-19 reasons. Other things
You can only do that in California.
you can only do it in California. It's perfect weather. It hasn't rained in a long time, so I don't know how they'll do it sitting out there under the sun and how you can see your laptop screen, but they want Wi-Fi out there, so we'll try to do it. So I've got that, and then, I don't know what else I'm working on. Non-Wi-Fi stuff, which has to do with gigabit to the home. So I'm testing. I'm going to be working on that, and also working on that CWNA course, and then trying not to do so much technology as well, because I know the last few weeks being at home, last few months actually, we're just constantly stuck on our screen. So this weekend I spent a lot of time out in the forest, just hiking.
Nice.
So I just want to continue doing that, getting outside and stop staring at my screen.
Yeah, it actually helps a lot since since I'm not traveling as much. I find myself doing more like breaks, like over the weekend. I would totally disconnect, and then by Sunday afternoon, I'm like, man, I need to work. Like you have this, this excitement again. It's like, man, I need to. And then when you start, on Monday, you're like all pumped up for the week. So it really helps to motivate, I think, yourself.
It does, and that reminds me, I have to finish a validation survey. I have to create the report and the analysis of that. And I did do, and I'll try to share this with people, but I did do the survey with Ekahau and also the Etherscope and AirMapper. So,
nice. Okay.
I wanted to analyze the results of both to see what that looked like, and whether or not you can go with the other, right? One or the other. Which one would be ideal? What type of person does either solution fit? And what are the differences between the two? So I think going through that kind of exercise, it took me a little bit longer to do the survey because I had to do the survey twice, right? So it was 2 floors, and I only decided to do the air mapper on a single floor because I didn't want to spend so much time doing 2 surveys, doing it twice. But I look forward to sharing what I find.
Awesome. Yeah, I want to know the difference, especially in receive sensitivity. Is it the same or is it major different?
I find sometimes it's pretty close. Like the Etherscope was pretty close to the Sidekick, but there are some differences at times. So I think it has to do with the antenna orientation. Because I would place them next to each other, right? So you've got the Etherscope on its back, and then the Sidekick is kind of like, it looks like it was built to have it sit on a table. And I'm not sure if the antennas are both oriented the same way. And I did make a comment about that, not knowing how the antennas were oriented on the device. So if I were to stand up the Etherscope, I would sometimes get a stronger signal, and it would get really close to the Sidekick. And then other times I would see upwards of 5 to 10 dB difference.
Okay. Well, I know for the Sidekick, they built it so the orientation wouldn't matter too much, and they actually tested that. So, and the test confirmed that. So they have a pretty much, I guess, omnidirectional pattern to it when it comes to the antenna. They place the antenna all around the board at different locations and different, and then the type of antenna they use as well helped with that. So regardless of the orientation, you roughly get the same type of signal. So for the Etherscope, that might be a little bit different.
Yeah, and you hold the Etherscope differently too. So the Sidekick, it's on a strap, right? So I try to keep them. I kept them both on each survey in front of me, but the Etherscope was held higher because I didn't have a strap for that one. Plus, I have to tap for each data point that I want. So those were the the major differences doing that separately, and the differences. But we'll see what that looks like. I did create offsets, so I compared the Etherscope to the Sidekick to an Android S10 to my laptop. So I have different offsets.
Awesome.
All right. That's our coffee hour, a little bit over an hour. But if you guys want to learn more about what we discuss, head over to cleartosend.net. We will post a recording of this on the website. You can also see the latest episode that we released on open roaming. That's cleartosend.net/230. And then be sure to check out our courses, courses.cleartosend.net. We want to thank you guys for watching live, for those who were participating in the chat. Theodore, we will test out the Cubicon. He's asking about that and wants to know how it goes, and we'll probably do another episode or a coffee hour on that as well. That requires video, so we can show it to you. But we look forward to seeing you guys on the next coffee hour. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.